back to part 2. So it's been probably 2 days and the paint has dried really nicely. It has pulled back, so it's lost a little bit of gloss, but I was expecting that because the amount of material on there, it's going to actually shrink and sort of tighten up. But that's perfect, because what we're going to do now is going to get our block and a little bit of 800 grit wet and dry. We're going to use some cheapo window cleaner and we're just going to go over the entire body with the block. As you can see, it just flats that out really nicely. We're going to take the shine off, get it all nice and smooth, get rid of as much peel as we can to get this as flat as we can, so when we put the next 2 coats, or maybe 3 coats of clear on top, it'll give it that real sort of wet look and sort of depth to the actual gloss and the metal flake. Get a little bit of tissue. And you can just see, I don't know if you can see that on camera, how it's flattening that out. I've actually got the guitar braced in the vise there. You can see that's just braced in with that piece of wood, because we're using this for actually polishing as well. So we'll hold it in the vise and just polish it on here very gently, just to bring the shine gloss back up after we've cleared. So we're going to re-clear, and then we're going to flat again with a 1500 and a 2000, and we're going to polish it back up, and it should look amazing then. So I'll continue with this all the way around the guitar, try and get it as flat and as nice as possible, using as much lube as necessary. Then we'll get it hung back up in the garage and whack some more clear on it. So I'm just actually flattening the back, and while I'm doing it, I'm just going to go around with my scalpel blade and go around the actual screw heads very carefully, like so, just to actually break that seal of clear coat. And I can actually feel with my scalpel how soft this clear coat is, because there's a lot of material on there. I think it's probably 6 coats of actual paint, probably 7 with the base coat if you think about that. I've just done that one, so I'll just tighten that one back up. I'm not going to go all the way in, just loose, just snug it fit, and then bring that one back out. Just clear their head off with the scalpel. It's basically just so I don't get too much build up of material for when I do actually take it all apart and get any tears in the clear coat. Just go around that edge there as well. Just take that edge off. Okay, nip that back up. And I'll also go around the edge here of the masking tape before we take it all apart, just to make sure all the clear coat is split away from the masking. Because it will probably take a few months for this to fully cure, because there's going to be a lot of material on here, so it really needs to sit for, like I say, a couple of months before it's even rebuilt. Just gently around the screw head, bring it out ever so slightly. Perfect. It's just these little details should make a difference at the final job, so it's all nice and neat and tidy. So when I do finally take it apart, I'll go in and clean all these edges up anyway with the scalpel, just to tidy all the holes up. Okay, back to some more flatting. I don't know if you can actually see it on camera, there's still a little bit of peel there, especially here and through this area here. So I'm going to actually go through again, just block it again with my hard block, a little bit of 800, I'll just drop a little bit of 800 just to get it all nice and level. And then I'm going to leave it again, let all the solvent actually come out of the actual lacquer for a couple more days before I actually put the clear coat on. So probably, today's Saturday, so I'll probably leave it till Tuesday before I actually get the clear coat on this.
water cannon and just blow all this dust out of here. But the wire brush also scans it. That's two birds with one stone, right?
So pretty much all flattered now, and I've just given it a light spray over with some degreaser, and you can see there how deep that's going to look. You just notice a little bit of peel there, so I'll just go through that again. But no matter if it's a little bit of peel, because I'm going to actually flat it again. But you can just see how deep that's going to look there. Give you a closer look, see the flake, look. How nice that is. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to leave the actual guitar for, like I say, 2 or 3 days, just to let all the solvent come out of it before we put any more clear on it. And then we'll whack 2 coats of clear on, leave it for another 2 days, flat it, and then we can begin polishing. So we're back in the garage now, and it's all been cleaned, but I need to get rid of all this. See the white here? You can see that on camera. This is basically just slurry from when we did the wet flatting, so all this has got to go, otherwise the paint won't stick. And I want to blow out the little holes as well, so I'm just going to use my airline. I've got the compressor on. I've also got the heater on as well. Try and get a little bit of heat in here, because it's a freezing cold day today, which is going to unfortunately increase our drying times even more. So I'm probably going to leave this for a good 45 minutes between each coat. I've got other bits to do anyway. I've got some airbrushing to do as well. As much of this slurry out as possible, and use a normal tack rag, go in and blow it all out if we can. And then we'll mix up some clear, probably do 2 coats I think. See how it looks after 2 coats, 2 good coats. I'll be using my DeVille Bisque gun, which gets a lot nicer finish than the metal flake, than the Sealy gun I use for metal flake. So I've got my clear mixed up as a 2-to-1, same as last time. It's all been tacked and blown off. I'll give it another quick blow with the gun before we start spraying the first clear. I'm going to turn the heater off because I don't want any, because this is a naked halogen light and I don't want any flash fires or anything, so we turn that off. Turn the air on. Got my mask, always wear a mask when you clear coating. That's 1 coat and that's laid down really nice. I did thin my clear this time, probably about 2% thinners, so very slight. So now this is going to be very wet, which it is. So I'm going to leave this for probably 45 minutes or so to really flash off. I'm going to put the heater back on, just leave it, walk away, go and do something completely different. Then we'll come back and do probably 2 more coats. We'll do 1 more coat, another 45 minutes, then we'll do another coat, and then we'll leave it. And it's going to sit for a couple more days. But I'm really impressed, that looks really nice. I say, stop playing with it, walk away. Okay, so it's been probably 45 minutes, nearly an hour. and it's pretty much flashed off. Still looking nice. So another coat and then more drying time. So that's 3 really nice coats on there now. It's really brought the gloss level out. See that? See the reflections in there, really nice. So what we have to do is let that dry now for a couple of days like we did before. Then we'll flat all the peel out. So there is some peel still in it. See the reflection? Flat the peel out, the 1500, and we'll buff it back up. I'm really pleased with that, that's come out, it's really nice. A little bit of patience. Yeah, it was a long old day today. It's taken me probably 4 hours to do 3 coats of paint, drying times. But it's nearly dry now. A bit sticky, so I'm going to leave it in here probably about another half an hour. Then we move it into the workshop. We've got some heat, let it dry off for a couple of days. So we're back in a nice warm workshop, and just give you a close up of the actual gloss level of that now. As you can see, that looks really nice. So when this is flat and polished, this will look really, really nice. See the level there, see my reflection? What I'm going to do now, like I say, is leave that for a couple of days just to really harden up. I'll keep the heat on in here just to make sure it dries nicely, nice and hard. It'll probably take a couple of months for it to fully cure, like I said before. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that. It's come out really nice. So, 2 days time, we'll start flattening and polishing. Okay, so it's a couple of days later now, and the paint has dried really nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go in and start flatting, again, wet flatting with our 3M flat block. I'm going to start with some 1200, and then we're going to go with 1500 again over the top of that to get nice and flat, and then we should polish it back up with a nice cutting compound and our dual action polisher to get to a nice glossy finish again. But it's actually laid down really nice. There's a little bit of peel in the actual body just through some areas here, so we're going to flat all that out as much as possible, get a really nice flat finish. So I just want to remove any imperfections to improve the actual gloss level and the actual reflections and light reflections as much as possible. Again, I'll be using my normal Tesco's cheap window cleaner. It's just the same old process, short little movements all over the body. Just like that. And that should start to give us a nice flat finish, which it is already. So I'll continue with this, go all over the actual body. Probably take me a couple of hours, maybe even more, because I'm concentrate and get it as flat as I can, and then we'll get to the polishing stage. Okay, so I'll give you a little update. It's actually flattened down really nice. I'm now on the 1500 grit paper, and it's just refining the actual finish a little bit more. Again, I'm still using the window cleaner, and this will just remove any of the 1200 scratches. and then when I'm happy with the actual finish of this, all the peel's coming out really nice, but when I'm actually happy with this, then I'm going to go in with a 2000 and then a 3000 grit, just to really refine the finish. It's going to make it easier to polish up, but it's actually looking really nice. I don't know if you can actually tell any difference on camera, probably not. There's no peel in that now, a little bit here, but that's going to be under the actual scratch guard. I think I've got a scratch guard lying about. Let's see if I've got one. A nice plain white one. Something with a pearl or something like that in there will look quite nice, wouldn't it? But yeah, those look really nice. Very sort of classic looking, with that extra little bit of bling. Yeah, really pleased with that. Yeah, okay. So like I said, more flatting, and then I'll get back to you when we start polishing. Okay, so all the actual flatting is now done. I'm pretty happy how that's come out. It's nice and smooth. What we'll do a quick polish over anyway first, and then if there's any areas we want to just go over again, we can just go over with a 1500 or even a 2000 just to double check it, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be fine. So we're going to crack on now with the polishing. The polish I'm going to be using is my Guild DA polisher. It's a cheap polisher. I did a review on it in a previous video, you may have seen it. If not, just search through my listings and go back and watch it. You might find it interesting. I usually use my rotary polisher on things like this, but because this paint is quite thick and quite fresh, it's going to be soft. So the rotary is going to be a little bit too aggressive, I think, and may burn the paint. So I'm just going to stick with a little dual action job, so it's a little less aggressive, but still does a nice job. I'll be using 3M green pads. This one's a little bit worn. That should be still fine. And the 3M Fast Cut Plus. And then I'll be going up through the grades to the yellow cutting paste and finally the blue, and then we'll give it a nice coat of wax just to bring out the luster. So first of all, we put a nice pad on, centralise it, give it a bit of a wipe, spray a little bit of detail on it. I like the Hydrate Detailer from Mirror Image. Just a little bit on there, just to moisten the pad. And get a little bit of polish. Need a massive amount. Start in this small area here and see how it actually polishes up. Something like that. Plug it in. Always helps. I'm going to start off on a nice slow speed, probably somewhere about 2.5. I'm just going to be, probably won't be able to hear me over the polisher, we're just going to be very gentle with it and just work it back and forth. Let the polisher and the actual cutting paste and the pad do its job. Don't put any pressure on it, because like I said, the paint is really soft. Just concentrate on a small area at a time till all the actual polish is worn away. Yeah, it's come up lovely. If you can see that on camera there, I'll just bring it around a little bit. See the reflection in there now, it's really starting to come up nice. That's just with a quick going over with that first stage. So I'm going to go over the entire guitar with that head, and then we'll do the next stage of polishing. As you can see, the reflections are really nice and crisp. Nice and flat now. Still a little bit of peel there actually. I could probably flat that a little bit more, which I might do. I'll see how it sinks back, see if it pulls back anymore over the next couple of days, see if it tightens up. If it does, then I might just reflat that. So I've finished all the actual first stage of polishing now. I'm just going to go on to the second stage. I'm going to be using a little bit of my extra fine cutting compound, but I've got very little of that left again, so I'm running low on stock. So I'll be using the Ultimate Polish by Meguiar's, which is really good at getting rid of scratch marks and fine lines, which is what basically the green head leaves behind. So I'm just going to give that a good shake. Whack a little bit of that on. Usually use the yellow head with this. I'm going to be using the red mid-stage polish, which is quite firm but not over firm, so it should get rid of all the light scratch marks. Again, we're just letting the polisher do the work, not putting any pressure on there, just letting it lightly just go over the actual guitar body, just gently remove all the scratching. It doesn't take much because the scratching is quite fine now. If you look at that, you see that on camera, give you a closer look. You can see the gloss level on there now is really nice, and it feels incredible, really smooth and glossy. So I'm going to go over the whole guitar body again with that stage, and then we'll finish off with a sealer just to protect the actual paint, and then we'll go over again with some wax, and that should be job finished. So I've gone over the entire guitar now with the second stage, so it's a really nice glossy shiny deep finish. So we want to actually protect that now, so we're going to actually protect the actual finish with some Ultra Glaze by Auto Finesse. It's quite a nice glaze, this. It'll actually seal the actual paint, so it's almost like a sealer. It'll seal the actual paint, seal the shining, and help protect it from scratches and marks, etc. Just give it a little bit like that, and we're just going to apply it with a microfiber just in little circles like so, just all over, around the edges as well. This should really seal in the gloss level, and when this is dry, it takes about 5-10 minutes to actually set up and dry to a haze, and then we'll buff that off. I'll probably use my DA polisher with the black head. It's a 3M black head, which is the finishing polishing head, just to remove the sealer and make sure it's all nice and clean and shiny before we give it a coat of wax. But I'll do the entire body with this first, and then we'll think about waxing. So leave that for 10 minutes, then we'll come back. So I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, so I'll see you in 10 minutes. So a nice cup of tea. Cheers. So that's been about 10 minutes now, and it's just setting up nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the speed right down on the DA polisher, put it down to about a 3, and we're going to just gently remove the actual sealer, and that should buff up the actual paint as well and force the sealer into the actual lacquer as well. I say sealer, but glaze, it's the same thing pretty much. Again, nice and gentle, no pressure, just letting the weight of the polisher do its job, just move it around nice and gentle, and that's brought that up lovely. You can see that on camera, the camera actually does it any justice, but the gloss level on that is beautiful now, really deep. So what I'm going to do now, I'll do this side first, before I flip the guitar over and do the back, and the other side, because I can't actually physically get to that side. So I've done this side here. So I'm going to give this side a coat of wax. The wax I'm going to be using is a Dodo wax. Gives a really nice deep glossy shine. Again, this will protect the guitar as well and add to the luster and the gloss level of the actual paint. Just give it a nice coat all over. Just a gentle coat. It's a bit cold, this wax. It's freezing cold day again today. I'm sick of the cold weather actually, can't wait till it gets warmer. Just give it a nice coat all over, then we'll let that set up for about 5-10 minutes. Finish our tea, watch a bit of YouTube, and then we'll come back to it and buff it off. This time we'll just buff it off by hand, and it's this side done. We've just got the other side to do it in exactly the same process. The guitar is finished. So there we have the finished guitar, all done. See the shine and reflection in there, very nice. Metal flakes all looking nice. So I'm really happy how that's come out. So what I'll do now is parcel it up and send it off to the customer. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, found it interesting. If you have, drop me a comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe as well. And I'll see you in the next video.